Hello, class. So far, we've talked about what craft is. It's art that's made for a purpose. And we talked yesterday about the physical qualities of craft, things like medium, media, technique, process, craftsmanship. And you did the cake exercise. Today, we're talking about the contextual qualities. So the contextual qualities of craft go beyond just how it looks and how it just physically functions to what it means and why it means that. So today we're going to talk about content, which is meaning, and context. And then tomorrow we'll work more with appropriation, assimilation, fusion, relevance, and how people are in cultural groups. So you already know some of this, you just may not know it by its formal terms. But when you look at the statue to the left, can you figure out, first of all, what it's a statue of and where it might be and what its purpose might be? Even though it's broken, you can still kind of figure it out. It is a gravestone. It's in a cemetery, and that's what's used to mark a burial site of a person. If you look carefully at it, you can tell that it's an angel, even though the wing's broken, but it's not an adult angel. It's a child. So it is probably marking the grave of a child. And the child is probably female. And you could guess at that because of the way the angel is styled. Our angels in our culture tend to be styled this way. But this one is wearing a short, like a child's dress, and has a curvy hair. But when you look down lower onto the bottom part, the gravestone itself, you can kind of see some carvings of flowers. And this stone dates from the Victorian age, so the late 1800s. If it was an angel that was for a boy, a lot of times, as well as having the angel there, and they would down where this angel just has kind of like that log blob, they would also include like small animals like turtles and things of that nature. If it was for a baby, instead of an angel, it would just have a little lamb that was laying down. So content is meaning, and we talk about this all the time. It's the meaning of the craft. It's the reason for making the craft, why it's important, and any associated rituals and traditions. In this class, when we talk about content, we're talking about how it's associated with human development. And that's why you're also going to be spending time learning about human development and what, the stage of the conception is, and birth and childhood and all of those things. And that's because crafts, by themselves, when they were invented, they weren't invented because people were bored. They were invented either because there was a practical, sensible need for it, but then they were also elevated because they were associated with these very important parts of life and the human experience. So if you look at the picture on the left and think about the answers to these questions. What do cakes like that mean? When do you have those? Why are there candles? Why are they lit? And what are you supposed to do about it? And what's supposed to happen if you do that right? You probably know the answers to all of those questions, and that's content. So in case you don't know, when you see a cake like this, it's a birthday cake. And we have them yearly on our birthdays. And there are candles on there. And the candles are usually one candle per year of your life until you start getting really old and it becomes a fire hazard. And then you might just have, candles that are shaped like the numbers. The candles are lit. That symbolizes light and life and energy. and you blow them out, and you are supposed to blow them all out with one breath. It's for everything to work, you have to get it all in one go. And then if you do that, you make a wish. Now there's some other parts to it that are older parts that people have kind of forgotten, but in order for that wish to come true, you have to do three things. You have to keep the wish a secret. You have to not speak until you eat the first bite of the cake. You have to eat that first bite, nobody else. And then supposedly your wish can come true. Most people now, they just know about blowing out the candles and maybe keeping the wish a secret. So our content for the class is human development, which is the stages of human life. Age is the range of years or months in some cases that a stage takes. Physical is how the body grows and develops. And a lot of that is directly related to the crafts because that is the most visible aspect of growing. Psychological are the characteristics of thought and learning and behavior, and they kind of explain why the craft is important for that age. What is the psychological purpose of it? And social is how the rituals and traditions and beliefs come in and the interactions and influences of other people. So if you look at the graphic on the right that kind of shows the ages of humans in general ways, you start out with birth and infancy where you're kind of crawling around, and then you go to childhood, which is about ages 2 to 10. And then maturation, which is the tweens, 10, 11, 12, ending around 13. And then you have, you guys, the teens. And then you have adulthood. And then you have older adulthood, middle age, though these people are over middle age. And then you have elders or old age. And this graphic kind of amuses me because if you look at the people and you look at yourselves as teenagers, the girl is all about her phone and the boy just looks very sad. And then this would be me right here. I'm not quite here yet, though I'm getting there kind of rapidly. And sometimes I do use a cane, though not often. Yeah. But anyway, that's the important part. And there's another big difference between these two graphics, but I'm going to let you see if you can figure out. So context is also important. That's the background information. And that explains who is the group that creates the craft, what the craft is itself, where in the world it comes from, what is its geographic location, when is the time period, why is the reason and use of the craft, and that goes back to your content. And then how is the technique? So look at the image and think about, you know, in general what it symbolizes and what ethnic group might this be associated with. What type of activity is this? What time of year do you think it's associated with? Where do you think it's taking place, urban or rural? Why are they doing this? What is the symbolism? And how do you think they made the dragon? Normally in class we would deconstruct this. The ethnic group it would be associated with an Asian ethnic group, and you would guess that because of the writing and the style of art and the general activity. The activity itself, it's a parade. And the time of the year, you might need to know a little bit about Asian culture, and then you would recognize that this is a New Year's parade. Where is it taking place? You can't really guess what country it's taking place, because on the float you have both English and Chinese writing, but you can tell from the buildings in the background that it's in a city. Why are they doing this and what is the symbolism? Well, this is the Chinese New Year parade, and in Asian mythology, time is seen as and yearly changes as the dragon that eats the sun or the moon, the celestial pearl. And the pearl is the round spear in front, and then the dragon is chasing the sphere. And the dragon, it's made of paper. And you can tell that it's made of something that's lightweight. It's probably paper and silk, because they are holding it above their heads. And it's flexible so that it moves with them and dances. And it isn't, they aren't struggling to hold it up. So you know it's not something heavy. So that's things that we can figure out with only knowing a little bit about it. And then if we were to research it, we could find out exactly what was going on. And that's your job. So the lesson was short today, but your challenge is this artifact investigation. And in the following slides, there's some random artifacts from the art room. The art room, if you've been to school face-to-face, you know it's full of stuff. I collect all sorts of curious things. And if you haven't, well, know that the artifacts in the following slides are photographed. They're numbered. You only have to do this for one of them. If you want to do more than one, I will give you bonus points. And you're going to use a Google Doc, and you're going to answer these 5 questions over on the side. Now, kind of start off by using your brain first and look and try to see what you can figure out. Some of them you might be familiar with. If you know something, then you have a choice. You can either go the easy way and write about what you know, or you could pick something else that you don't know and challenge yourself. Up to you. You can use the internet for research, but I want you to use your brains first. So your questions, the first one is, what part of the world do you think the object or artifact comes from? And you don't have to be specific, like a city or even a country, just a general part of the world. Oh, this looks European, this looks Asian, this looks Middle Eastern, African, etc. And then I also, with that, is I want to know how you know or guess that. What about the artifact that you're looking at makes you think that that's where it comes from? Okay, secondly is, what do you think it is? That means, in a general term, is it a tool? Is it a toy? Is it something just to look at? Does it have an identifiable name like coffee cup? Third one, what do you think it's made out of? This is talking about materials. Number 4, do you think it was made by hand, meaning that one person or a small group of persons made it? Or was it manufactured, which means it was mass-produced in a factory? And number 5 is, what is it used for? So what is the purpose of this artifact? And some of these have more of a ceremonial purpose, and some of them have more of a practical, sensible purpose. And then the bonus question, if you choose, is, and you can be creative about it, is tell me how it ended up here in the art room from wherever it was in the world. So this is artifact number 1. It sits on my desk in my office. It's approximately the size of a half of a can of soft drink, half a Coke can tall, and about the same diameter, maybe a little bit smaller. On the left, you see the object as it is. On the right, I have the lid off, and you can see that there is writing inside on a scroll, And that actually spins. That needle part goes into there, and then you spin it around. That's artifact 1. Artifact 2 is on the window ledge in my office. It's also about the same height as half a soda can. And it's heavier than you think it is. Artifact 3 is in my office, and it is about as tall as a water bottle. Artifact 4 is by my desk that's up by the board, and it's flat. Artifact 5 hangs on the classroom wall, and it's pretty big. The middle part of it, this part is about the size of a small pizza. And this size to here is, taller than a water bottle, about as tall as a 2-liter bottle maybe. And the same for this bottom part. Okay? So again, you choose one of these 5 things and look at it, and then answer the questions in a document. And then you're going to upload the document or turn it in on Google Classroom. And don't forget the bonus. Okay, thanks.